It is my pleasure now to welcome Dianne Turner, who is the superintendent at the Delta School District. Let's welcome Dianne Turner.
Thank you very much. And thanks to Dean Frank and Dr. Wendy Carr for inviting me to be part of this really exciting event. It's an honor and a privilege to be here with young people who are beginning to engage in their careers as educators. I am a grad, so I'm great. Can't hold that. I did my practicum there, and I'm doing my doctorate there as well. My husband was a UBC grad in teacher education. 2 daughters, UBC students. But what I really wanted to say to you is that this title called Inspiring the Educator Series made me really reflect on what it means to me. I thought, am I one of those people, really? And I say that with all sincerity because the work that I do is completely a reflection of the amazing team of people I work with in the Delta School District every day. And they are the inspiration. And that inspiration comes from that team and that opportunity for people to work together. So I wanted to make sure that I said that because none of us are as excellent as our team makes us look. Okay? So we should know that. In this presentation today, Dr. Wendy Carr asked us to focus on a few questions during our 20 minutes. And she asked us to talk about what's happening in our districts, what's critical in teacher education, and what matters most in education in BC, and what's happening in this province. While I may get through what's happening in Delta and potentially touch on a few questions around teacher education, I'm not likely going to get to those other questions. It's just not going to happen in 20 minutes. But what I can tell you is that much of what I'm going to tell you about Delta School District story has overlapping elements of what matters in schools and what's happening in the educational context in BC. Where there's other questions around critical things that are important for teacher education and education of all teachers. I think what I'll do is the PowerPoint that I've provided has some suggestions for you, as done by a number of people in Delta who I surveyed and said, what's really important in teacher education? I'm going out there to UBC, and I'd rather not look in the research books and logs and so on, but what I would really like to do is what people tell you, what people in the field have told you. So I'm sharing that with you now, just in case I don't get to that particular slide in my presentation. So what's going on in Delta is very interesting, I think, from the perspective of we were taking a look in the district about 4 years ago about that we did not have a vision for our district. I attended a conference in 2009 with a group of principals and some students we took with us to be part of the presentation at the national conference. And during that conference, we were asked to identify our vision, our beliefs, and our values. And we weren't really clearly able to do that. So in 2010, we began working towards what is a vision all about. So sorry, I'll go back there, and you can take a look at this quote a little bit later. But really what she says is that a vision is a statement about what the district wants to become. And it should resonate with all members of your community, and the district needs to feel proud of that vision and excited about it. And it's really something that they use every day as part of their practice. So in Delta, we had lots of great initiatives going on, tons of them. I mean, we had academies going on, Laptops for Learning Project, all kinds of great initiatives happening. But what we didn't have is a clear focus. And you can see from that sign, if you don't have a focus, sometimes you're a little bewildered and you're seeking direction that you don't have, and so on. And actually, the casualty in that is that you can start going in the wrong direction as a school district and spend a lot of time in something that's not that important. So we began to look around at what we would do for development, and we found some very interesting things that Simon Sinek had to say. He wrote the book called Start With Why. He has developed a model called the Golden Circle. You can go onto YouTube or TED to find it. And so we did a lot of work with that as a startup for ourselves. And then here's the Golden Circle. So at the center of everything for us in Delta is this question of why, and it becomes extremely important when you think about it, because it's exactly what you should be doing. You should be looking at your purpose and your cause and your work before you start looking at the what and the how. And so this becomes your vision. So Simon Sinek's golden circle was very, very instrumental in helping us to focus Delta on vision. So we began this visioning process, and the whole district was involved. I think some people actually thought that I was a little bit daft because I wanted everybody involved, and it wasn't really clear to everybody how that could possibly happen because we had 15,000 students, and we had 1,000 teachers, and we have many, many parents, and you know, all of those people involved would be incredibly large undertakings, but we decided that we would go for it anyway. And as we did that, we wanted all schools involved and all work sites involved. We enlisted the help of a professional facilitator and graphic illustrator to help us because we also knew that we wanted a visual at the end of this so that people could really tie into a visual. The whole district became involved, and we had our question through our appreciative inquiry process called Moments of Greatness. If you've ever gone through an appreciative inquiry process, you know that they dig into these really important questions that come to your heart and ask you to think very deeply about your experience. So the question that we were asked was to define our moment of greatness that was our best learning experience that we've ever known. So all versions of the vision were collected up from across the whole district. Everybody was involved at every school site. And we began then the process in January, and by April we had it completed. And we involved all partner groups, all of the teacher unions, teacher union folks, all of the QP members, parents, students, and administrators. Everybody was involved. We had the managers and principals trained as facilitators so that they could conduct that process in their own school site or their own work site. So we had a big gathering to start off with. So this developing the vision piece is really important. Now I've got a little video that I'm going to show, and I'm going to cut it off before it gets to the end probably. But I'd like to show you some of the words that people have to say about our district visioning process. And if you don't see the whole thing here, you can see it on our website.
Focused on a big, bold vision for the Delta School District. What could we possibly be by 2020? What would our students be learning like as learners? What would our teachers be like as teachers? And what would we be, the biggest and the best and the boldest we could be by 2020?
My Delta School District has access to technology.
This technology is very beneficial to Gus because it helps him be able to communicate with the staff and the other children in the classroom when he's having difficulty getting his point across. He wears it throughout the day.
4, 5. Find the number 5.
Gus loves using the computer. You tell me what number, Gus?
10?
Mm-hmm.
You know that.
That's how old you are.
We are great places to play.
Every site in the school district, every school site, every work site in the school district went through their own version of the vision process. And through the help of a professional facilitator and illustrator, we were able to capture through these conversations some things that are very important to people in the school district. The mission and the purpose of the school district, what is compelling about that and what is important that we must not let go of. And then we moved on to the values that we hold dear and that are absolutely essential in our school district, the values that we must have for all of our students and all of our staff.
So rather than go through the next 5 minutes of that video, you can watch that on our Delta School District started out with 300 people in a room, and we went through that same process at each of our schools. So eventually we all developed posters like this. So this is one from Annandale Elementary School, for example, where their staff went through and their people in their community went through this whole thing together. So we brought together 31 visions from our schools. We brought together visions from all the work sites. We had this daunting task of bringing it all together. And this is what we ended up with. So if you can see, Steve is here, the other pointer? I won't try it. I'll probably wreck my presentation if I try. So if you take a look at the sunshine piece up here, it tells you that our vision says that we are Delta School District is our leading district for innovative teaching and learning success. So that's our central vision, and around each of the vision centers there, you can see 3 red boxes, and these are our themes. So as you can see at the bottom, we've got student engagement, social emotional learning, and empowering our learners for the future. So that's what our communities told us were the most important things for us to do, to focus on. And so that's what we've set out to do. Now, once you get a vision, you can't just let it sit on a poster. So this is what we were thinking was very, very important for us, is that we needed to now set some action. We needed to have something go in motion. Otherwise, we were going to have this poster and people were going to say, that was a waste of time. That was a nice, pretty poster, but what are you going to do with it? So we started doing some research, and the research helped us to come upon this book. This book, called Building and Connecting Learning Communities, The Power of Networks for School Improvement by Stephen Katz, Lorna Earle, and Sonia van der Vaar, was a great textbook for us in lots of ways to help us design a focus for our future taking on our action. So then we began the journey towards inquiry, because that book told us that inquiry was absolutely the right place for us to focus and how to do this work. So the journey towards our inquiry began with setting in motion a structure, and the structure looks like or sounds like this. We have a coordinator of inquiry in every school. So in the secondary school, that's one block of time for the secondary teacher. For the elementary teacher, it's an afternoon a week. And so then we also had grants for inquiry, so that people could apply for money to have release time to do their work together. And we also enlisted the help of Judy Halbert and Linda Kaiser. They became our consultants. We hired a district principal of innovation and inquiry to help us with all of the inquiry, including our student inquiry. We based all of our work on these two remarkable works. One is the work of Helen Timberley. She's from New Zealand, and she's quite remarkable. She's done a lot of work here in BC. You might have heard of her speak before. And we had a lot of help from Judy. I know that some of you are using this book. Most of you are, because I brought it to a meeting with Wendy, and she picked it up and fell in love with it. So that's why you're reading it. So our coordinators of inquiry have a role to do in the school. They help to design the question with the school-based administrator. They facilitate the inquiry in every school. So this is COI, or coordinator of inquiry. About 5 minutes more. That was a short 15. So they do that work together with Nancy Gordon, who is our director of instruction for programs in Delta, as well as Neil Stevenson, who is our district principal for innovation and inquiry. And they engage in the professional learning together, and they do their questions. So each school designed their questions around the sub-themes from our vision. I won't spend time on that for too long. Here are some questions. When you get the PowerPoint, you can look at them. They're really engaging, exciting questions. And they have to tie into one of those 3 themes around our vision in order to help us achieve our vision. So some of them are really quite interesting questions. If you get the time and you're thinking about future research for yourselves, this might be a great place to go. Annieville, the one that had the poster that I showed you, went into a great deal of work around a lot of connected pieces for them, and their connected pieces were around social responsibility, technology, and assessment for learning. And it's a huge question. We thought they'd never accomplish it, but they have, and they've done a remarkable job. So what happened at the end of all this, we did a celebration of inquiry at the end of the year, and it allowed us to really focus together on what have we learned. So here's some pictures from that celebration. Everybody presented their work. People went around the room and learned a lot from each other, shared a lot. But that's not the only place where we've had an impact from our vision. The culture of the district is changing, and the culture of the district is shifting to be more collaborative. Teachers are really talking to each other about their practice, they're sharing and learning with each other, and there's lots of energy and passion and excitement about their practice. Inquiry is becoming a way of life in Delta. That's a big part of what's happening. Students get to see some of that happening in their classrooms this fall as well. Our achievement contracts used to be pretty boring things, they still are, if you ask me, but the reality is they didn't align well with school districts in the past, and now they are truly aligning well with our school district and our schools individually. Our principals meetings have become meetings where we do a lot of professional learning together, and our school growth plans and our professional growth plans are completely aligned with the district vision. And there's a template that we used. This template here, based on the spiral of inquiry that you have on your book, we talked to Judy and Linda, and they allowed us to use that spiral of inquiry to be our school growth plan template. There's a quote there from one of our administrators, far too long for me to read out to you, but basically let's say, this is somebody who's not too excited about doing school growth plans. This was an exciting time for him. So some of the promising practices, I'll let you read that on your own at a later date, but we have some great things happening in many, many schools. Here are just a few examples, 5 of them, of things that are happening both at the elementary and secondary school level. Some more talk about promising practice. Our current focus, we know that it's important to share our learning, the successes and the challenges, because the challenges are equally important. So when you get to your teaching, you know that some of the mistakes that you make are going to teach you sometimes a lot more than the successes that you have. How are we sharing our learning? Well, here's one thing you can do if you want to. You can take a look at our 180 days of learning. It's a website, it's a platform where people can share, it's a blog. We have lots of people blogging on there. We have administrators, teachers, parents, students. This year, our focus is going to be on a few more opportunities for students to do that sharing on this blog. So that's what it looks like on the front page. And there's my blog. I don't know how that one got into the picture. Then there's this other piece. It's called Delta Learns. And this is a platform, an amazing tool for building people's learning and connecting and sharing the learning. So this is a digital portfolio. It's a collaborative place for people to go. You can actually go on there. You can't see all of the private domains, but you can actually see some of the more public domains. And that's what it looks like. And we advertise things on it. And we blog. And we form professional learning networks on it. And our leaders in our district are also modeling the way. And I think this is an important piece for everybody to know. We aren't just asking our teachers to do the inquiry or students to do the inquiry. Our leaders, our administrators are doing that learning as well. So there are lots of slides to come. I think I'm getting so quick. I'm told that I'm done. So I want to thank you again for allowing me to come and speak with you today. From the heart, all of those things that our administrators and teachers in Delta have told you that are really important pieces of teacher learning, you can find on the